Hello, how's it, everybody's? It's Steve, and I'm back again.
Oh
Episode
yeah, we have a third person.
264, Operation Rico Roundup. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
miss
I
me?
actually forgot we had a third member in this.
We
Thing.
did miss you. Did every?
Popular Nyers. Hello, Paul. Hello, Rob. Hello, gentlemen. Hello,
Howdy.
Bergforce. Hello, listeners. I'm back.
Hell yeah.
And I ask
Back
again,
again.
did you miss me? Because there wasn't a resounding yes.
we're our own people, you know. Oops, we can decide for ourselves what we like and don't like.
Maybe people should stop shouting at the radio. I mean, at their whatever they listen to their podcasts on. You know,
It's tough, guys. Let me tell you. If you're referring to what GI Joburg or other podcasts, either way, I'm the worst kind of podcast listener in the world because I'm like live correcting people while they're in my ear holes, and then they correct themselves, and then I have to resend the sort of the DM that I just sent them. But I have an all important rule nowadays because I'm such a bloody smart ass about this stuff. I only want to nitpick the nitpickers. You know, like if someone gets something wrong and they're just a casual fan, I'm not going to go after them. But if someone is nitpicking someone else and they in turn are making an error in their very own nitpick, then I'm on the case, let me tell you. Case in point, a guy came on air and said, I can't stand these fly-by-night fans who don't like do the research and they don't know like Outback's place of birth and they don't know Beachhead's file name. And like he got Beachhead's file name incorrect. And I was like,
because that's the one thing I do know. I don't know Outback's place of birth, but I do know Wayne Sneeden. Oh, Wayne Sneeden.
Big Piney. Wyoming.
Big Piney.
Okay. That's Outback's place of birth. And Wayne R. Sneeden.
Is it Wayne R. Sneeden? I said S by accident. Hey.
Yeah. This guy said Wayne Sneeden, and then he paused because he knew there was an R somewhere. And he's like, Wayne Sneeden Jr. I think he was thinking of the Cops reference. But anyways. Let's not get bogged down in nitpicks. I'm elated to be in your presence again, boys and listeners.
Likewise, man.
This is good. Thank you for holding down the fort, Rob, in that awesome overview of our finest
Rob
work.
Solo.
Hell yeah.
And then the Megaforce episode, which still hasn't twisted my rubber arm into watching it, but that's mainly just because I've been watching like broadcast television again. I'm currently staying at an Airbnb and they have no Wi-Fi. This is probably the only Airbnb in existence that doesn't offer Wi-Fi. So I'm watching TV by night with the bunny ears. A bunny ears aerial. Can you believe that?
That's wild. That
Dude, that's old school.
Well, I don't know how it does it, but somehow bunny ears are able to get digital channels. Huh? That's news to me.
I don't know anything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that.
Beaming the 001s through the air to the
001,
like,
0001, 011.
How's it possible? I've just been watching X-Men Origins Wolverine, which isn't quite as bad as I remember it. But I guess my expectations have been like down in the basement for however many years.
Oh, dude, that's what happens. That's what happens when you watch broadcast TV. You see, you're not part of the.
You lower the bar.
You lower the bar, yeah. But are you watching the first one or the second one?
X-Men Origins Wolverine is the first one. You're thinking of the Wolverine, which is the one in Japan, which is marginally better, but it kind of loses itself towards the final act. Anyways,
well, let's put it. At least I've seen that one more than 3 times. So the first, I can't stand the first one. Yeah.
Wow.
I recall correctly. I saw it. I saw the Wolverine in Hyde Park in Joburg, but I walked into the wrong cinema because I was late and I was blustering through the popcorn and the bloody ticket and however the cinemas were numbered. And I walked into the wrong cinema and I started watching Now You See Me Too. I was like, hang on, this isn't right.
How'd you like me now?
Woody Harrelson being a magician. Who else is in it?
Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd actually use that
And
as well.
that other clown from Pineapple Express.
The brother of what's his name?
We're doing
Green
great,
Dot
guys.
Yeah,
Let's
he's in
stick to what we
Spider-Man,
know.
and
Oh, James Franco's brother, younger brother.
Yes.
yeah,
Something
and isn't
like-
James Franco in there as well?
Wouldn't
Maybe
surprise me.
cameo.
What a joker.
Oh no, Daniel
guys.
Radcliffe is in the second one, I think. But anyway,
Oh, rat.
You're a wizard, Harry. Oh Lord.
Okay,
Um,
okay. I see the comments from the Berg Force has gone very quiet because they're like, what the fuck have we wandered into? You guys are rambling.
They're like, oh God, Steve'sberg.
he
What-
hasn't
No,
been back in a while. He has a lot to say.
I do, guys. But before we get into our kind of our news update, let's just unpack what the hell we're doing in this episode. 'Cause it's quite fun, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. But since the Operation Recall Backerkit has just opened, there's no time like the present. I wanted to put a bit of spotlight on each of the figures in the first wave, plus the extras, and play the little game. Because if you did go all in, you're getting all of these carded figures eventually, like Christmas comes early or late, or however you want to date these things. But when it all arrives, you will be spoiled for choice. You won't know what to do with yourself. You'll be like, do I open this one or that one? Do I open them one a day for the next 17, 19 days, whatever? Or do I open them all in one go? Well, we decided on episode 264 to play a game of like focusing in on your absolute favorites. Like if, as for many of us, we don't have the greatest means at our disposal, and you could only go in for one or four, or sort of a limited quantity as opposed to getting everything. What are your criterion? How are you deciding? Because there's such diversity in the Operation Recall roster. I'm sure you'll agree. There are villains, there are heroes, there are animal companions, there are freaky science fiction characters, there are absolutely like down to the ground realistic tactical characters. So like there's everything. It runs the gamut between science fiction and reality and superherodom in some respects, and there's just so much, as I say, variety to play with. So let's get our teeth sunk into like our absolute faves. We're going to kind of do a rundown of all of the figures, and then at the end reveal our top pick. I think Rob and I settled on one. And true to
Paul, of
form,
course.
Paul.
I got like 3.
How many, Paul? Three. Well,
Okay, actually,
Five special
I'm gonna be
disrespect.
honest. It's actually 4, but 3. I really like these toys, man. Like, you know.
Yeah,
And like you're saying
Team
about
chosen
memes.
some real winners for sure.
So, where do we start? What's the criteria you want to start with? Are we just gonna talk through them, and then one of us is gonna go like,
down.
"I got that one," or
No, we say at the end.
okay,
no, we'll start at the very beginning, and we will start
very good
with.
place to start.
What did I just do? Fuck, man.
Hey.
It's been a while since I've driven StreamYard, but here we go. The first figure on the list. Actually, it should be Rotello.
Yeah,
So let's start with Rotello. Guys, this is Carson
Rotello.
Metaxas's figure concept from 1989, beautifully realized by Ron Rudat with Kirk Bozigian overseeing it. And it has, I mean, dare I say it, Carson, like you had a wonderful concept to bring in a homing pigeon, and you made it very achievable back then. However, the old masters have like kind of blown it out of the water and not used any limitations. I mean, if I'm recalling correctly, Carson had various parts reuses that he listed in his original concept to kind of like, I suppose, not strain the
sweeten
budget.
the deal. Yeah,
Yeah, well, make it easier for Hasbro, more palatable. But Rotello is a masterful figure with some incredible accessories. Not only does he have a homing pigeon animal accessory, but also a quadcopter drone. So that's kind of doubling up on your concept there. You got the very old school tech and the very up to the minute kind of future tech.
Also, very forward thinking of Carson as a kid. To use parts that would be easy to reuse. Like a lot of people wouldn't consider that. That's very enterprising.
I think we can all agree that Mr. Metaxas is one smart cookie. Even
No.
as a child, he knew the realities of action figure production. So hats off, bro. The powder blue shirt is a terrific idea. I mean, originally his concept had a green shirt, but like that blue just really, really like puts him into that hero category. It's not realistic, it's not tactical, it's not practical, but it really sings, man.
I also
It
like
fits
that
in
it's sort of
perfectly with 89, the best year of GI Joe.
Yeah, a bit of sky blue, just like Recoil's Arsenal. Oh man! But when they did the Collectors Club version, and I think they took out the blue accessories and made them more realistic gray. I don't know. I might be misremembering. It's like no, that's Recoil's thing. Or I know what they did. They made his helmet normal and not that kind of freaky deaky bedpan thing. And that's Recoil. You got to have the bedpan.
Yeah.
Or as I like to think of it, it's kind of like Master Chief from Halo, kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's something interesting about it. I just find that figures you lose all of that toy's personality when you change the weapons to realistic colors, and like you said, the helmet just loses something in my eyes.
We deride powder blue guns and the gun chucker. But if you put any other color weapon with Recoil, it just, I don't know, it doesn't seem right. It's become his thing. You got to somehow explain it on the battlefield. Like, Recoil, why do you spray all your weapons blue? I don't know, man.
He's like, they're not blue, they're green. Okay.
Okay. But Rotello,
what does this red?
Anyone else got some more praise to sling at this figure?
I have a love-hate relationship with this toy because my submission also had like a drone concept. And when I saw this, I was like, oh crap, my drone concept's not gonna fly now because Carson's got a drone in his. No, I'm kidding. I actually really dig this. This looks like a lot of fun. It's a fun toy, to play with. Like, it's got lots of, like, this is the kind of thing I'm into. Like, especially as a kid as well, where you got the little drone you can take off, you can fly around, you got the pigeon, it's cool. And
it sets such a high bar in terms of accessory count. Bird, backpack, gun, helmet, quadcopter. Like, if you got that on a card back in '89 as a GI Joe, you'd be like, "That's amazing. That's more accessories than you can shake a stick at." It's like, step aside, Tundra Ranger Stalker.
And and Mark van Leeuwen in the comments with this beauty, Rotello would fit perfectly in my Steel Brigade. Yes, please. That's exactly where my mind went when Steven went powder blue shirt. I was thinking Steel Brigade. But
Steel Brigade, Spirit, Airborne. There's a rich history of that powder blue popping up in places. So it's not just Recoil's gun chucker.
But that's where we went, because we're GI Joburg. What's next on the roster, dude?
Let's get down to business, boys. The first of the creator submissions past Carson's initial figure was Breacher and Falcon. Now, I've thoroughly enjoyed Order of Battle podcast's coverage of Operation Recoil because Jason is doing the yeoman's work and he has gotten interviews with the creators. And he made the point that this particular gentleman, Gabriel Magnum, after the actual kids who submitted, he is the youngest submitter at age 21. His father and he are both comic book artists, and he produced this fantastic figure, also with a blue shirt. I've just noticed. It's not quite powder blue, but
it's just a really great compliment for green.
Green. I wouldn't think so, but when I see it, it sings, man.
Falcon, Buttercom, the original. Yeah.
But you see another animal companion in the mix, and you can't go wrong with a canine character. Yeah, you can't have too many of them. In other words, I'd say.
And it's cool artwork too. You know who
It's
he's
definitely a good
art...
complement with Shockwave. They
Mm,
work well together.
So much was said in the interview, actually. Nice one, Rob.
Mm.
Yeah,
and I
you
also
nailed it.
like, and it's cool because now Matt has a buddy, as well. Matt and Junkyard.
Mutt,
They have
Law,
buddies.
and now Breacher. But he's not the
Yeah.
only canine in Operation Recoil. Recoil?
No.
Oh dear. Bit of a faux pas
Uh-oh.
there. Operation Recall. I got recoil on the brain, guys.
But Breacher and Falcon, when Carson did the initial like sort of teaser on Instagram, where he just flashed a whole bunch of just some of the submissions, I remember Breacher and Falcon catching my eye. Like I remember going, "Hey, that's actually really cool." It had a great silhouette because this was the it was this artwork, but I can't remember if it was colored or not. But I do remember this artwork and going, "Oh yeah, cool, a dog handler, awesome." And I love the ponytail and stuff. It's cool. It's very
the
90s.
ponytails and the- well, it actually it is Gabriel. He said as much with the long hair and the goatee. Mm.
Nice.
Well, if you're gonna
I'd
make
say
a figure,
they're-
you might as well make one that looks like you.
Totes, man. There are callbacks and call forwards. Like if he came up in the modern era of action figures, which he did, the tactical vest reminds me of Resolute Duke.
Duke.
You've got that figure,
Mm.
Rob.
Yeah.
And then like in this color version, they did Sergeant Thunderblast, which used the same, which is thunder. Came with the Armored Panther, which is the armadillo from Rise of Cobra. Okay, I'm probably losing people with my description, but basically that tack vest in that color green with those brown pants really do feel like Sergeant Thunderblast to me. Wait, he had black pants. The brown was on top. Anyways,
Yes.
regardless.
Anyways.
There's some technical aspects which Gabriel wanted to include in the figure, which seems to me like very challenging to do for the O-ring style. I'd be curious to see what engineering goes into this figure because not only does he have Outback's plug-in L-bent flashlight that goes into the thigh, but he seems to have a sheath that attaches to the tactical vest on the shoulder portion, and a knife that goes into that, which is a very, I'm sure you'll agree, like a very like modern era GI Joe thing to do.
Yeah.
POC Snake Eyes had that. I think the Alley Viper, while the sheath wasn't removable, it had a knife sheath on its shoulder.
God, how cool was that? Like
very
the first time you
cool,
experienced that, it's amazing.
But, gents, does that break the O-ring aesthetic to you? Is that perhaps a bridge too far?
No. Not for me.
Well, I think
Not for me.
maybe they'll sculpt it in. I mean,
Yeah.
there are limits to what you can do with O-ring, I think. I mean, probably
I guess
like
it's a case.
Yeah.
Well, it's a case where Gabriel is kind of shot for the moon. It's like, let's push this as far as it can go. And if the old creators are like, yeah, but we want to stay true to the way it was, then they could kibosh it, perhaps. I don't know.
Oh, unless we're going to see like a completely new reinvention of what, O-rings are.
how they could
bring
be
them to the
executed,
21st
yeah.
century. Why not?
Kibosh.
I think these guys are going to split the diff, to be honest. They want to
Hey.
remain true and pass the kind of the squint test. It should fit side by side with your original O-rings. So we'll see. I'm curious. Then again, O-rings did push its own boundaries. Like Outback had web gear in a time where web gear was typically sculpted on, and Chuckles had a functioning holster. When once again holsters and the pistols, in fact, were always just sculpt. So it could happen, guys. Next figure, Cadavers. This is designed as a troop builder, but interestingly enough, the creator has this as a kind of a named character in his own headcanon, which he has just launched as a Kickstarter called Easy Kill 9. Link will be in the description below. These guys, or this guy, is tasked with eliminating zombified people. That's why he has no sort of flesh showing. He's got an entirely insulated suit, and that's why his primary weapon is a very, very sharp blade. Because, man, as you all know, zombies are just big old bullet sponges.
This is such a cool concept. So that feels like it feeds into the 90s figures then.
Yeah,
With the
And also a
zombie.
little bit of
Viper.
POC as well, because POC
Oh, with that
had
skull
those-
motif. I believe
Yeah.
that has become quite a popular symbol now. I mean, there's a lot of fan art circulating around these figures. So, yeah, man, people are really running with these concepts. But that, I believe, is the Easy Kill 9 logo. So this team of undead eliminators would all be rocking that symbol. But, in this new universe or canon, it's all up to reinterpretation. I mean, Larry Hama, in fact, has the final say on how this story is put together, how this world stitches together. So, whatever the creatives' initial concepts were, they have to kind of surrender that and just give it over. Like,
Of course.
it might all change, which is delightful. Very exciting.
Oh, for sure. I mean, already it says silent infiltrators, as their description of what he is. So it could, maybe they're like, nah, there's not so many zombies in this world.
Looks like a ninja.
But either
smells
way,
like a ninja.
It's a very cool
Must be a
looking character.
ninja.
Paul. Well, you preempted me, man, because what a lot of people are theorizing is that this is the kind of the evil counter to
Serpent.
Oh, he's not next. Okay.
Ooh.
But the cybernetic prosthetic ninja called Shh with 4 H's. Just so you know. I'm up on it, man. I know my shit.
Love it.
I've got a whole bag of shh with your name on it. But yeah, I like the fact that cadavers are kind of paired back. They seem, at least on this design sheet, to just be sword carrying dudes. They got one
I think
blade,
what
one
wins
sheath.
is it's the design itself is what wins. You don't have to add thousands of accessories to make something cooler.
I don't know. I am that guy. Add thousands of accessories to make it
Oh
cooler.
gosh, we already own thousands of accessories. Just you literally play with them with any of your figures.
Well, I do. That's why. Anyway, moving along. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons I love Storm Shadow, the original Storm Shadow, so much. I just love that all of his stuff's with him, theoretically, because you don't want to break anything these days. But I did enjoy that, and I suppose this cadaver dude is gonna have a lot of that going for him too, just based on the little sketch I can see on the side on the left. He's got a I can never remember the name of that, but it's like a stabby.
Fist knife.
First knife. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's a baddie dressed in grey, so that it already kind of falls into the Firefly aesthetic. I mean, this could be one of Firefly's dudes. Oh, mind you, Firefly likes to work alone. I don't know, this could actually be Firefly. You could reset Firefly's kind of ninja-stick aspects and make this his evolution instead of the garish lime green, which I enjoy. Just let that be on the record. But
You and Gary
if
both.
if that's not your jam, Cadavers could be your reimagining of Firefly. Pursuit of Cobra Firefly, if you will. Now we have our buddy, friend of the show, Action Robot Punches, Ted Terranova's concept, Damselfly, which is an enemy aerial assault trooper.
Love it.
She's
Very
wearing
cool.
blue camo and has a similar face mask, actually, to the Cadavers design. Kind of a stylized skull, almost. And she's got a kind of deployable backpack that Carson has confirmed will have a spring open feature.
Flippy wings!
Ah,
Yay!
that's
That makes me
nice.
so
Flippy wings.
happy. But let me
And
not
on the
spoil
ends of the
anything.
wings, you've got those very cool quadcopter-ish turbines. Very, very nice.
Which is great because it has a cool visual. It's like even though it's not very like realistic, it's got a nice visual for it sells. I mean, it sells. It flies. You know, which means
it's
it'll
not
sell.
a toy line that it's not a toy line that I collected much of, but I have an awareness of the Microman figures, the Acroyas, and I think it was called the Space Glider. I don't know. The goody characters had like backpacks that deployed like that. I'm remembering primarily the Marvel Comics run, where oh gosh, the girl and the guy, Commander Ran, Arcturus Ran, or whatever. Anyways, they both had those, and they used them to zip around a classroom, which was cool. Like micro-sized people fighting in a school, which was just pure fun.
You know what? One of my favorite things about this character's design is the gun. I really love that gun design. I think it's so cool. It's not like overcooked, because sometimes designs can be very overcooked and look a bit Rob Liefeld. It just sits in a very happy space for me. It's got a bit of a slight Gundam aesthetic to it that I like as well. And yeah, and I think Damselfly is a very well designed character. It's very outrageous, but also sort of subdued. Like, it's very military, but the accessories make her quite outrageous, and that's what I dig about this design.
The
And I
gun
also
feels
love all
like
the
a
sketches.
throw forward and a throw back. Like it's got that cylindrical, like additional barrel shroud, which always says sci-fi energy weapon typically, but it's also a throwback in that World War One era machine guns were water cooled, like the Vickers, and so they had giant like water tanks around the barrel, which was like a big bulky cylinder. So yeah, it's and the rear end of the weapon as well kind of has a very old school aesthetic. This
Yeah.
metal wireframe shoulder brace, very
Which
cool.
is
Well done,
yeah.
Ted.
Nice one, dude. Nice one. Rob, any thoughts,
you want to
feelings?
pass any thoughts?
I think this is really cool. It's a nice complementary figure to the target and the Annihilators as well. It's nice to have another like
course.
aerial figure on Cobra's side. I think it's
Hopefully
awesome.
that blue camo will kind of have shades of Cobra Blue in it. But
I'm sure it'll look good
I
with
made the
orange
mistake.
and purple next to it.
I made the mistake when I was submitting my concept that I kind of was too heavily reliant on the GI Joe versus Cobra mythology. Like I
Yeah.
should have copped to the fact that like these need to be figures that stand on their own without any ties to GI Joe, because Carson did want to approach Hasbro. In fact, if the legends are true, he did approach Hasbro with this concept, and they were like, "Nah, we're gonna do our own thing." And he was like, "Fair enough. Well, so am I." So this is disconnected from the GI Joe world. I was stupid. I kind of made my character very much in the mold of him being, in the original A-Raw assortments.
I did
Foolish.
the same. I did
Yeah.
the same, but I have no regrets. Not even a one. No,
Yeah.
I got
So
no
maybe we
regrets.
should
I'm
stop
happy I did. It was
referencing.
yeah.
I'm just going to try and stop referencing A-Raw for the rest of this chat, if I
I
can,
think so.
if that's even possible.
Yeah, if you can try. Let's see how long Steven lasts, guys.
And now another appearance of that delightful blue color. We've got Sol Eagle Guerrero, but I prefer to use the Spanish Aguila del Sol, because Sol Eagle Guerrero is a little close to Saw Guerrero. Don't you find? You always think of
Yeah.
that Star Wars character, and as luck would have it, Rogue One was on free TV this evening. And I watched it, and I was thoroughly depressed afterwards because that movie sucks. Like
It does.
it's good, but it
What?
sucks in that like
Everyone dies.
couldn't one of them escape? Couldn't one of them
No.
just live
But
out
you're
their
going to get
retirement?
to see
Oh.
the earlier adventures of Andor very soon, so isn't that nice?
That is
That
nice.
takes out any tension in the room whenever he gets into trouble. It's like, is he going to make it? Is he not going to make it? Well, of course he's going to make it. He's going to die to a bloody Death Star shot, a couple of years from now. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's why they got to bring in all those side characters.
I feel like we've said so much about this character in previous podcasts, but I still, what I want to add to it is, hey,
Rob
I've never
hasn't.
said a
He
single
wasn't.
word about this character.
He wasn't around.
This is one of the first times I ever saw it. I think the weapons are so cool. Like, I like that he kind of integrated his own special weapons into this character. And it's nice that there's a Lucador as well. I like that we're kind of going very international. And I feel like the blue color is maybe a theme that they themselves have picked out to go with Operation Recall. So they were more likely to create characters that were blue-ish, that lent towards blue. At least based off what we've seen so far. But yeah, he looks like a lot of fun.
He's got freaking eagles on his shins, guys. I mean, on his knee pads. Like, how badass.
That's why I like this so much. It's so extra. It's, it's the same thing. It's extra in the right places, like Damselfly. It's extra, but it's like held back a little bit by some sort of real world, inverted commas, sort of, restraint. But yeah, that gun, I love that like cinder block looking, punching fist glove thing with the gun. That just looks like I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this if I get one. So, and
Carson has clarified that that weapon, that sort of fist-mounted with the additional minigun hanging off it, that block, is used for punching tanks.
Whoa.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
The luchador is a weapon.
But I also just want to double back and draw attention to an awesome feature of O-ring figures that incorporated it. And that is the knee pads themselves. Because it would extend the lower leg portion of the sculpt to cover the joint, basically. And when you really make a meal of those knee pads, like the Crimson God or the Crimson Twins had, for instance, they had quite high padding up there. And I'm blanking on other characters, but I'm sure it was something that
also has a little bit that goes a little bit over, I think.
Yes, yeah. Anytime you had a pad that kind of extended upwards, very nice touch. And this one really embellishes that aspect. So it's clever that the design elements in the concept took into account the construction as intelligently as this. To like add flourishes that would make sense to the original O-ring buck and architecture. Very cool. And of course he comes with a title belt. Amazing. Next we have some baddie army builders. This is kind of the, I suppose, designed as the cannon fodder. The Los Castigadores. Castigadores. Los Castigadores.
Yeah.
Jeez, nailed it on the third part.
Bless you. Yeah.
Enemy executioners. Wow. They're not messing around.
The creator included a sketch, but also this is based on a cosplay by the looks of things. So Chris Scott has actually created this for real.
In real life. He's a real
skull.
executioner.
It's got some Punisher elements, but then is a fully covered face with a visor and a sort of a skull mouth plate, mouth covering, and then a helmet on top. Very tactical, badass. I'm very curious to see this translated into action figure form because, to take a real thing and go O-ring is something that has happened relatively few times. Aside from the Sergeant Slaughters of the world and the fridge and all that jazz. Like, when else has this happened in O-ring? Oh, yeah, I suppose. But like, Scoop's uniform wasn't a translation of something that existed.
Yeah, no, that wasn't real. That was just his head was real. It was a real person. I think it's a good. They look
his camera was
intimidating.
quite real.
It's a real camera. These guys look so intimidating. I think they're
the rule of
yeah. These are a good enemy to fight against. I think the Los Castigadores.
I don't love this.
No, Paul.
No, I'll tell you why I don't love
You're
it.
shitting on my favorite figure.
No, man. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not shitting on
Gotta
your
go to
favorite figure.
your hand,
I just don't like it. And it's not because it's badly designed or anything. I don't like Call of Duty, and this figure reeks of Call of Duty for me, this design. And I'm like, it's got this veneer to it that puts me off. That doesn't mean that it's not well designed. It is very, very well designed, and there's lots of interesting considerations done, especially if you look at his sketches that he's done for it, and the way he's designed the weapons. There's lots of win in there. This kind of aesthetic, I'm just so done with it. And I think that's just because I'm a gamer. I'm just done with that aesthetic. I see it too much. I'm just done with it. That said, I'm still curious to see what it looks like in toy form, because I kind of got a feeling that in toy form, there might be a little bit of a weird goofiness that goes to it that makes it really awesome. And that kind of goofiness has helped other designs like the Flak Viper in the past. and it's helped things like the target. You know, if you take the target and you make it very realistic, it like if like as it is, like the original design, it's kind of also a little bit military and too straightforward, and the Flak Viper as well doesn't look like an interesting design on paper, but as a toy, it's up there. So that's why I think this guy might be an interesting toy. So I think maybe to be fair, I'm cautiously optimistic about this. Maybe it's not so much that I dislike it. I'm cautiously optimistic. It's just
Yeah, I think
this
conceptually
general
it
look and
doesn't,
feel
it
doesn't
doesn't
get
hit,
me.
it doesn't, it doesn't, you
It's
don't
weird.
like it conceptually, but maybe as a figure it'll be cooler.
Exactly. And it's weird because I mean, we like this toy line that is military based, but I'm always like when
You
it
don't
goes
like
too far
military
military, it gets me. Yeah, I get a bit like okay,
Wild.
yeah,
No wonder your favorite character is Snake. I mean, Storm Shadow.
Storm Shadow, exactly.
Amazing.
White pajamas on the battlefield. Yeah, and I like Ninja Force Zartan. Who know? You know.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I think this guy will probably give big headhunter stormtroopers vibes. In terms of just looking very intimidating, very detailed, got a kind of a grimace to the face. It's got the helmet gives it a face, even though you're not seeing the actual character's face. It's got this skeletal mouthpiece and the goggles, which give it an aggressive eye line. I think it's gonna look absolutely badass and be every bit the kind of army builder you want for this line. Reinterpreted
also-
through the O-ring construction can do that. It can do badass. The Headhunter Stormtroopers are perfect examples of that. And they came late, man. That was a 1992, 1993 figure. Jeepers.
Have you guys seen those in hand
No.
before? Okay, I once upon quite recently, a friend brought over a GI Joe collection that he asked me to appraise, and to just help him sort out the weapons. And there was a Headhunter Stormtrooper in there, and that's a stunning toy.
Yeah.
That's a really awesome toy. And I'm pretty sure, as I'm saying this, the value of it is shooting right up. I'm joking.
Yeah, there you go. That's what happens when Paul says something's cool.
Of course, right? Then it gets expensive. No, I think they already are expensive because they are quite a
Still
sought
doesn't
after
happen
troop
to
builder.
Scoop. Well, yeah, Paul, if you're feeling lukewarm about Los Castigadores, then think of how cool the Headhunter Stormtrooper would be if it had dedicated weapons and equipment. Because that's what you're going to get in Operation Recoil. Recoil, I did it again! Recoil. Yeah, he's going to have specially designed backpack and weapon and maybe some other bonuses. Who knows? A combat knife. Like, his kit will perhaps push this figure over the edge for you. I don't know. We'll see.
And he
I'm
also
curious to
incorporates
get your
that
opinion.
skull design from the Cadavers as well. So I think that's obviously something that they've picked up on.
Collaborated on.
Yeah.
Very good.
They've incorporated that maybe more into, and maybe they'll feature more in the bad guys. Like
Well,
that's their
we'll
symbol.
find out as we get down through the order. We're now into wave 2,
Ooh.
second figure.
Shh, Stephen.
Okay, fine.
It's shh. Yes. It's very cool.
And this comes to us from our dear friend Alexander Murrell, Jason Murrell's boy, from Order of Battle Pod, friends of our show, allies, in fact. So, I mean, we've obviously got nothing but praise for this figure. It is a ninja, but also an amputee. So, representing people with disabilities or overcoming
Which I love.
additional mobility issues. Yeah, no, it's very cool. He made a 12-inch custom of this. So he took like I think a $6 million, not a $6 million, what's it, Mike Power, sort of atomic leg, and added it to a 12-inch buck and a black sort of ninja suit. Very cool. And it's gone. It's taken flight, man, from very rudimentary sketches to some awesome artwork. And who knows where Mark Pennington will take it further.
Ooh,
We're all very interested.
Well, I just want to just throw this little picture just into the mix quickly, because this is sort of a little bit where Mark Pennington has taken it. Look at that. Look at that. Mark Pennington, you are a beauty. I love your work.
He's
Love
gone
it.
in a very interesting direction. It feels very Star Wars-esque kind of.
For the listeners, what are you going to tell
Darth
us
Revan.
about it?
It has it's just got such a great silhouette to it. The leg has been made super thin, so it's got a bit of a steampunky, almost steampunk, cyberpunk. It's sitting in a space between steampunk and cyberpunk, which is just great. The armor, it's been given a little bit of armor. I'm really liking that. It's taking it away from just being a pajama-clad ninja to having some, finger food, some like texture to it.
It has its own identity, yeah. It has
I
like a
also
full
love-
blade on its arm.
Yeah, man. And then just the portraits. Like, I like this sort of Hush-style portrait with all the bandages on the face. I also like the portrait with the bottom half of the face covered. Really, really, like, great. Just diving into the ninjistics. I'm digging it.
The ninjistics.
Sorry, Steve. I think I cancelled your stream by accident.
Cancelled my own stream, brother. So yeah, very excited to see how this shapes up. It's already gone through so much transformation, and it's certainly a fan fave.
And it was so cool to find out quite a little bit later, because I didn't realize that it was Alex Merrill who did this. I know that it was a kid that designed it, but I only found out much later. I think it was you, Steve, who told me that it was Alex that actually worked on this, and that was just like a bonus, because
you met that guy.
Yeah, I know that guy. He drew me a cool Crimson Guard picture as well.
Of course,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's cool to have like one of his original artworks now that he's about to become all super famous as a toy designer.
Oh, heck yeah.
True story. He had an interview with the call sign Longbow guys about how to become a toy designer. So he's asking all the right questions to all the right people. I'll tell you that much.
I'm gonna make the counter to this figure. This figure's arch nemesis. It's gonna be called TSHH.
H. I need 4 H's.
To rival shh. Psst.
All right, guys. Let's talk about
Berklor.
Berklor, who, to my mind, seems like Pursuit of Cobra Taurus. Discuss.
Yeah, actually, every
does.
time I see this, I think Berklor. I think Taurus.
I think Bearclaw
So I'm
looks
reading
like
Bearclaw
Taurus.
because I dig this. I'm hoping it leans more towards the design on the left or in the middle, because I would prefer it avoided looking like an army man, because then it, I just feel like it'd have more character. And I really like his necklace with the claw,
Which is from Taurus. This is Taurus. Red Dog. Red Dog's got this gold tusk, doesn't he? So Taurus,
this is like
kind of like amalgamation of those characters.
yeah, that's
Dude,
great.
am
Man.
I going crazy? Is this another design from Gabriel Wilkinson?
I think you are going crazy.
It is.
Yeah, I think he's got 2 that made it through.
Hell yeah.
Apparently, he's the guy to email if you want to, get into this thing next time. Just be like, hey, man, have you got any pro
Give him
tips?
all the cool designs.
Yeah.
So
No,
an
this-
observation
yeah.
that Carson made was he fully expected there to be an overwhelming number of ninjas submitted. But in actual fact, survivalists were the most popular submission.
Interesting.
So it's an interesting observation on our times. The ultimate soldier of the 80s was the ninja. The ultimate soldier of the now is the
Bear Grylls.
survivalist.
the guy
Yeah,
can survive on
exactly.
his own.
There's a
the grid,
crocodile. I'm going to
man.
eat its ass.
Yeah.
I don't know why I made him Australian.
Because Australians are hardcore. Damn.
Oh, cool.
We're all about eating ass down under.
Especially that crocodile ass.
We're
Yeah.
lost.
Some kind of
God.
love it.
Sorry. But no, I get it. If I think about how Artback was elevated in my eyes because Steve sort of passingly, comment on passing commented that he's kind of like the Solid Snake of my GI Joe universe at one point long ago when we met, and I was like,
Outback.
What? Yeah, Outback. You kind of like, I mean, it was like brief. You've never really gone back to that concept.
Never
But then,
said
like,
it
when you
again,
did that,
ever.
it made me think of like Metal Gear Solid 3, and then I was like, oh my word, Outback is like Snake.
Yeah,
So
he is.
yeah, so I think a Solid Snake also has something to do with the love for survivalists as well.
It's all those gamers
characters.
out there.
Look, to be honest, I don't mind the colorized sketch. Simply because, like, I don't see that palette very often. And of course this is going to change, but like the kind of tanned leather accents on a kind of a gray and black mottled camo. I mean, it's going to be a very subtle palette, but where else do you see that? It is once again like an O-ring GI Joe viewed through the lens of the post POC world,
Yeah.
where we see how cool these designs can be if you just kind of push them out a little bit further. And that's what I see here, and I quite like that. Paul's dislike of Call of Duty notwithstanding.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. I'd also, yeah, no, you make a good point. I just like the one on the left.
All right.
I am a
One on
lumberjack,
the
and
left
that's
being
okay.
super beefy, arms exposed, 80s
That's what he
action
wanted.
hero
Both
style.
night and I work
That's what he
all
wants.
day.
It's got to be Arnie, basically. And
Once again, he's got
Stay
cool knee
downwind.
pads, man. So hopefully you'll see that feature of the kind of the knee pad rising up over the articulation point at the knee. Mm-hmm. Next up, another
They
fan
can smell
favorite
you.
and our second youngest to Alexander submitter. This is Clanker and
Clanker?
Tank from Bobby Earl, age 12. This figure is designed to be a survivalist with a genetically modified Galapagos tortoise.
another
He is
animal
a-
companion.
A scavenger. Apparently, all of his kit, all of his weapons, all of his gear is stuff that he's scavenged out in the wild.
Hmm.
So expect this look to go through a lot of change. I mean, we can
How
already
ru-
see,
Mm.
like from Bobby's sketch to Mark Pennington's initial like ideation with the head
Trooper-esque.
sculpt, very
Yeah.
Rogue Trooper, but the helmet is like
very
a tortoise shell.
rocksteady.
Yeah. Dude, amazing.
I like
turtle
soup.
That's absolutely right. Because it has, I mean, for those listening who aren't looking at the picture right now, the helmet has got the kind of the ridges of whatever breed of tortoise that is.
That's
kind
very.
of
It's such a cool concept. I mean, like he basically survives off the land, and whatever he can kind of make from while being out there is what he uses.
So Tank is not really an animal companion so much as he's a good place to store your gear and an emergency food source.
Apparently so.
No, I'm kidding. I kid. But like seriously, if this was Fallout and I had a turtle as an animal companion, you know that thing's carrying all my inventory. So I think this is such a great. This concept is a cool idea. Mark Pennington's head sketch on the right has me super intrigued. Because
what
do you
had
guys
me
remember?
intrigued because this, the when the campaign hit its kind of mid-period slump, and I was like, are they gonna get as far as Clanker and Tank? Because that one really has my interest because it is so unlike anything you're likely to ever see in GI Joe. Like this is some crazy stuff. This is a fresh concept. This guy's actually, I mean, his mother's into I think wildlife preservation and works with the
Aw.
turtles, and so
Aw.
like it's a personal story wrapped up in a fantastical concept, like a what if there was some way of getting a practical application to a turtle in warfare, and it's just the mind races. Like he's genetically modified. What does that mean? Is he faster? Can he dive deeper? Can he go further? Can he survive
talk?
longer?
Maybe you can hack. Hold on, Clanker. I'm hacking the system. Wait. Oh, hold on. That's a robot. That's a robot. Okay, I'm in. You know, like Tank sounds like he's gonna be fun. He's an interesting character. I'd make him talk. But do you guys remember that character from Toxic Crusaders? I can never remember his name. Is the soldier? Yeah, that was actually the first one I ever got from the line. I can just never remember his stupid name. But the head of this kind of reminds me of that dude. Like, yeah.
I'll take your word for it because the head of this reminds me of your dad.
Oh shit, he does.
That's a reference that will go over everyone's head except for the three people on this podcast currently. But it's Tini Blue. Yeah, it's your pa.
Shit, that means I might have to buy this one. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. Maybe I was already. Maybe I wasn't.
Maybe
you
never know.
Rob, what you got to say, pal?
I think this is a cool design. I think it's a cool concept. It's interesting that we have another survivalist. Like it's weird, that ninjas. Well, not weird, but it's interesting that ninjas were obviously not the big thing anymore. It's all about surviving.
Darren Cobb in the comments. Tank is referring to Tank. He can talk and has several hundred years plus of experience. Awesome. Which makes me think that Tank's gonna like just eschew quotes from Sun Tzu. You know?
Tank might be the leader of like the good guys.
Oh man, there's nothing stopping you from doing that in your own head canon, and I'd love
Right.
to do so. Oh my word. Awesome. Oh, I want to draw attention to the fact that he has a Swiss Army knife around his neck. I'm talking about Clanker, the operator.
Well, he feels like a
nice detail.
MacGyver, essentially. I mean, he makes everything that he uses from whatever he can find. He very much is a MacGyver. Not that the kid who did this knows who MacGyver was.
Yeah, exactly. What kid would? My word. All right. We are getting a bonus. It was unlocked to have the Operation Recall Rotello and Homer in their midnight. What are they calling it? I don't know. Night Force. Basically, Rotello in Night Force colors. Let's say that. There's a
very
better name for
Midnight Ops is what it is.
That's
called.
it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Damn.
So it looks to me like he's colorized a lot like Night Force Falcon, with that dark gray shirt instead of blue, and the green neckerchief, brown pants. So there's a lot of win there. Might even, I mean, in some people's esteem, surpass the original color. We shall see. I'd be curious to know what Carson thinks. Is he in love with the blue, or is he like, this might be my new favorite?
I'm sure he's getting both, so he can choose.
I'm sure he's getting.
I think he might get both. I've got a feeling
I've got
he
a
might.
sneaking suspicion. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Great Whites. Sector Viper with a shark helmet instead of a dome.
Oof. And it's just sex for me. I love this design.
I wonder if this
got
is
an inside. Yeah, there you go. I've got an inside scoop on the creator, Raymond Thies, courtesy of Order of Battle Pod. He is a lifelong GI Joe fan. He is a military man. He's now retired. But this design was something that he cooked up when he was 12 years old and found it in, I think, a shoebox or wherever it was stashed in his folks' place, and dusted it off for Operation Recall. So yeah, the turnarounds, the accessory individuation, like all of that was done back in the day by him. So
that's crazy.
Essentially, this is a 12-year-old's design then. So he also, even though he's a man in his 40s, it counts as a kid. And it's brilliant.
And I'm dying to show off Mark Pennington's art for this. So I'm going to quickly slap an image on the screen. Okay, because it is beautiful. I hope this is the one. There you go. I love that. It's kind of Mark Pennington's artwork takes it backwards. Not backwards, but skins the character down a little bit, or slims the character down a little bit. So it kind of looks a bit like an Undertow mixed with a Sector Viper in this design, and I'm loving it so much. And the suit looks very aquatic, very almost Atlantean, but also it's just got a mix of the right ingredients for me, especially for those of us that love characters like the Hydro Viper. And there's another amazing artwork here. I just want to just show this off here. This is from Waltman, who I'm not sure which one of these fine gentlemen is Waltman, but look at this idea for the Great Whites as well. Just so, like, also bulking the armor up now, but looking so good. I don't know which one of these I want to see the most as a final concept, but I'm loving it. And I know that I've maybe shown my hand a little bit, but Great Whites are very cool. They just they took one of my favorite things and made it in GI Joe form. The sharks are awesome. Sorry. Continue, Stephen.
Oh no, I was actually looking for an image myself, and unfortunately, the internet has failed me. But in terms
internet.
I know you expect
Help us,
Google
Tank.
to have everything.
Hack the internet.
But
okay.
I'm remembering a Ring Raiders annual that I had, which is just a hardbound Ring Raiders, like a comic book with stories and whatever. Anyways, it had a profile on the various Ring Raiders characters. Ring Raiders is that jet line by Matchbox from the 80s. It's pretty obscure now,
such
but
cool
I love those
designs
things.
for the characters, but like, yeah, I never got jets.
Mako, who's
Mako.
one of the baddie pilots. He had a helmet shaped like the mouth of a shark. So if you're at
he's
all aware
automatically
of this
cool.
toy line, look, they didn't make the pilots, but the pilots were included as artwork on the blister packs. And
What
then
did he
again
fly?
he flew an a MiG-29 Fulcrum.
Yeah,
that
I
could
had that.
dive. You had it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I remember having the MiG. Yeah.
The jet itself had a shark mouth motif on it, but the figure's pilot had a cool. The plane's pilot, who wasn't available as an action figure, as I say, was just artwork only, had that helmet design, which is very reminiscent of Great Whites. So I wonder if there was some idea transference, whatever you'd call that. Maybe. I don't know, but I do know that the creator was insistent on this being a kind of an enemy commander, like a kind of a leadership figure for Cobra's various flotilla of underwater craft. But they are going to make him into an army builder on this project.
Which is great.
Hey, play it your way. But they do say that
Yeah.
they want to give him multiple heads. There'll be different
I'm done with
head
like a hammerhead or something. That'd be cool too. Yeah.
I interpreted that as the head and not the helmets. Like I thought maybe we'd get different head designs. You can
That's
kind
also
of
cool.
Pop in and pop out. But no, I like yours more.
A crab. I am great
like
crab.
Super Mario Brothers cosplay.
Yeah. No, man, this is so cool. I like Great Whites.
Very cool. As do I. Next up, Run Back and Pack Dog, a female supply specialist and a robo dog, which, if you can imagine the Boston Robotics design of like kind of four-legged robots, that's what you got there, except it's got a back plug that you can put obviously 3 3/4 inch O-ring style backpacks into. She comes with one backpack that is a solid piece, and then another backpack which you can slide a tablet into. And it's a very clean design, guys. I'm quite fond of it. She seems to have a removable cap in the design, which is fun.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting. I hope they can pull that off.
Tricky.
Yeah, if it's removable, you can pull it off, Paul.
But as we all know, like when you have removable hats on an O-ring figure, something's got to give. Either it compromises the head sculpt of the figure in that
she's going to look like Scarlet,
or it compromises the hat and makes the hat kind of buckety. Like you see that with like version 3, the Warthog Sergeant Slaughter versus his non-removable hat brethren.
Maybe they'll just make it that you can remove the top piece of her head, like the Lady J classified figure, you know,
I hope not. It's
or that
gross.
scene in Hannibal.
My brains.
What is that? It tastes good. Eat your
But as
food,
cool
Paul.
as Runback is, I think the big draw obviously is the massive hulking
Pack dog.
accessory in the fact in the form of Pack Dog. Yeah,
Yeah,
terrific.
I'm all there for that design. That's what makes me like this design quite a lot. The accessories really sell me, and I love a female character. You know, like it's always a win for me.
Now, Pack Dog
not like-
has very modern-ish articulation in that I can see ball and socket joint that you would find on like maybe a Marvel Legends figure. But I kind of personally want them to do O-ring style T-hook articulation, or just reverse the knees. So basically, you got legs that essentially you could take out of Pack Dog and use on an O-ring figure. Like I want to keep all the parts kind of compatible. So even with this Robo Dog, like it's got signature O-ring style legs. I mean, of course, it doesn't have feet. It's got this kind of like, I don't know, those rubber points to its legs.
Wait.
Yeah. Oh man, didn't one of those things find their way into the Book of Boba Fett? Gross, yuck and poo. I mean, as much as I love drones, I don't love them in Star Wars. Star Wars has
No.
weird things like droids. Don't
Yeah,
be
we got
putting
droids. Yeah.
Boston's robotics. Ugh. No.
Ugh. Yeah, I agree. I mean, these are the things that are going to kill us in the next 30 years' time. Let's not put them in our favorite, space opera. Second favorite space opera for some of us.
Wow.
The first is Dune. Duh.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Jeez. I caught Dune
Jeez.
on the plane over here, and it's even good on the back seat of a fucking airline seat.
Hell yes,
It's
dude.
even good in that, it's still good. It's
Which is
an
cool because
amazing
that holds up because Rob and I watched most of Blade Runner 2040 on the back of a chair in a plane and our sound didn't work. So,
Yeah.
Gross.
It
and it was still
29.
great. It was
Yeah,
still
no.
great.
So good. I digress.
Dune.
Rob.
Sorry.
do
I
you
think
think of
this is a
Runback?
really cool design. Like it's so cool when they come up with like characters that fill niches, in like a whole military chain. And I think it's actually a lot of fun. And it's not over designed. It's pretty straightforward. But I'm interested to see like what they're gonna do with this one as a figure. I think I think she's really cool. Oh my god.
Very
And it's also
interesting.
making me wish I fleshed out Snoop's backpack on my design because that's what Snoop's backpack is as well. It's a drone that he carries as a backpack that comes off as a dog like that. So I'm glad that niche has been filled in this line because that is something I wanted and we're getting it. So I'm happy. Which is awesome.
Next up, we got a very pared down operative. Sniper rifle and backpack is all you need when you are Bengal. She's a sniper. She's counterintelligence. She's from India. Not to be confused with Bengala from the core. Because that's where my mind went when
That's exactly where my
first
mind
saw-
went to.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. I like the look, man. It's a very attractive color palette. She's got sort of a hint of a sari, like kind of just draped over her shoulder.
Bindi as well.
Beautiful colors. The bindi hair looks gorgeous. She's a very attractive operator. I'll be the first to admit. And as I say, very simplified. Just a rifle. It looks like she might come with binoculars. So not a heavy accessory count, but certainly a unique character type in terms of ethnicity, country of origin, what she might bring to the table in terms of her counterintelligence specialty. Because I think we're pretty light on intelligence operatives in Operation Recoil. Oh, you guys just need to slap me.
Recoil is Steven's backyard
It's
battles.
fine. I'm actually busy, like, sneaky writing Carson an email now just to ask him to just change it to Operation
To
Recoil.
So
It's
much
just
easier.
obviously,
It makes more
just
sense.
easier to fix that.
The 20th figure unlock is recoil in head to toe powder blue. Yeah, there you go. Make it so, 3D Joes. Okay, so Bengal, Paul.
Yeah, Bengal is it's everything you said. Very slim down design.
Bengal is a figure.
I think, yeah, like, how do I, like, this is one of those toys.
Like an asshole.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to not sound like I like a lot of the ideas here, like the ethnicity, the actual character is very interesting. I just feel it's not enough to make it a fun-looking toy for me, personally.
What? You don't like that she could possibly be the next coolest Tiger Force figure? Those pants really make me think.
No,
like,
those pants are amazing. I
Yeah.
love those pants. I wish I could have pants like that, but I just don't feel that this character has like a lot of visual impact. And maybe that's the strength of this character, when
Yeah,
you
they
see
don't have
everything.
to all like stand out as like crazy, like hectic.
I certainly
people.
love
They have
this
a very nice,
approach.
cool international backyard going on here, which I think is nice.
I love the fact that the character herself is Indian. I think that is awesome. I absolutely.
And
love
once
that.
again, a survivalist. I mean, a lot of India is very much like a jungly, crazy area. So,
Don't drink
like
the water.
once again,
don't
yeah,
drink
don't
the water. Yeah.
even. Like, I mean, she's a survivalist
Keep
too.
your
so
mouth
she's
shut
basically
in the
free-
shower, even.
Oh my
But
goodness.
one of the things that's
Don't go
like,
to India and not get the runs. I mean,
What-
come on. Come on.
one of the things here that's like really cool is how GI Joe has got roots in India because of Fun School, and that I feel like this figure kind of hugs that concept quite a lot and kind of
Interesting.
recognizes that because Hasbro GI Joe hasn't done that ever
They
with
haven't
any of
even
their
bothered
characters. So
to
this is
recognize
actually
India.
a very respectful design in that in terms of that. And yeah, like I said, just not super impactful, but I've got a feeling that this character will be one of those where I feel that maybe in a while, maybe even listening to this podcast again during the week or something, I might think, yeah, maybe I should add this.
She's
No,
like the
'cause-
next Snake Eyes, basically.
Well, she's kind of like, she reminds me a lot of Shooter. So
Explain yourself, Rob.
I think she's just she's understated, so you're not expecting a crazy amount of stuff from her, but like she's just too cool. And I think that, I mean, if you look at Snake Eyes, he's not the coolest looking guy ever, but he looks different from the other characters in that original lineup. And I think she looks different enough that she stands out, and that she could really be the next like big thing in GI Joe or Operation Recoil.
Like,
yeah.
I have a soft spot for the ladies, and of
Certainly
the
do.
ladies in this lineup, she's certainly a contender for the top spot just because she is something so new.
Mm.
As long as the
Mm.
head
And
is
you have
not as big
experience
as
with
Scarlett's.
Indian entertainment too, Stephen. I mean, you've done a lot of voiceovers.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that. Yes, I did a fairly long stint on an Indian soap opera as the
Yeah, there you
English
go.
voice of the lead character.
So you've been exposed to this culture before, I think. So it's definitely something that would be interesting for you.
They could write some pretty crazy soap operas, guys. Let me just say, like, if you think the United States or Telemundo have a monopoly on crazy hijinks,
You ain't seen nothing yet.
yeah. If you
You
take
haven't been to
Bollywood
India.
as your yardstick, I mean, it's just absolutely off the
Just
wall,
the
man.
editing and the film techniques, are incredible camera techniques.
Look, let
I'm
it just be said, I had the time of my life in that recording studio, just coming in day after day and like seeing what absolutely bonkers shit these cast members got up to. Wow, wow! If you can dream it, my boys, you can put it on the silver screen.
Yeah, we've seen some very powerful stuff come out of India. Special effects, sliding horses on the trucks.
Okay,
if
but
somebody-
coming out of the land south of the land down under, we have our only international submission that got through. I have to make mention of the fact that this comes to us from Kiwi. This is from Aaron Jenkins
Hey.
from Hawke's Bay in New Zealand, and it's the Unknown. These are a jungle
Interesting.
trooper that give me massive, what's his name? Shadow Tracker vibes, but with super cool, like, body modification scarring on the arms. And that is going to be a feature to help make this an army builder, in that you will have swappable arms with different scarification. And yes, I believe that is a word, because it's the word that Carson
No,
used
you're
in
right.
the write-up.
No, you're right. It is but it is scarification. You're very right. Because
That's a real word.
some of the more interesting tattoo studios here, they do
Do that.
scarification for people. So
We anticipate sculpting several arms for the unknown, showing various scarification to
So
create
buy seven.
variety in this enemy combatant.
These guys, yeah, once again, we're back in the jungle. Another survivalist in this line, but to me, they look freaky. Like that very plain, unreadable face mask that they have on makes them very scary.
Hmm.
I
And the
like
scarification too.
These are
Yes.
the counter to Bear Claw and to Clanker and Tank. These are the bad
Which-
guys.
These
yeah.
are the enemies.
These guys are like turned up to 11 in that respect. These guys are very cool.
Look, I'm a fan
really
of
like
Range
this design.
Viper, but I never could wrap my head around the fact that you had a Cobra Wilderness Trooper covered head to toe in a very like cumbersome in a way outfit. I mean, if he's dealing with cold wilderness, fine, but like I envisioned the Range Viper in like
Tropical
sweltering
areas.
heat and jungles
Yeah,
and
jungles.
humidity and insects.
Like the
Like,
goddamn tropics in here.
these guys are dressed in green, but they've got that cool ritualistic scarification going on. And because it's a unit of them, and they're not from some specific tribe necessarily or background, like I feel like that's your rite of passage when you become the unknown. That's when they do you up, man. That's when they like give you the design.
Well, I mean,
I don't
they
know.
can only
It
come
could be
from like
taken
one
some
of
other
three
way.
places. Like, I think New Zealand practices scarification. Some North African countries practice it, and also Wakanda, evidently.
Well, look, I that's why
Wakanda's not real, people. I'm just putting that out
I'm
there. Carry on.
theorizing Wakanda forever. No, that's why I'm theorizing
Wakanda
that
über
obviously you get the markings when you join the unit. Like once you become the unknown, you are forever the unknown.
Yeah.
Like you cannot go back to society. You are marked.
Yeah,
You have to
they
live.
take your name away, and this is you now.
Mm.
It's going to be very cool to see how this
I
all
have no
comes
face.
together in a bigger story.
These guys are very cool. I think this is also a very clever design. It manages to straddle the line between military and fantasy and touches horror, and it's not boring, and I dig that.
It's
How do you
fun. It's definitely
theorize-
mod card.
How do you theorize the arms being swappable? Do you think in the same O-ring style you would open the chest and swap the arms out, or do you anticipate some actual
Like the arms pop
redesign?
off.
I
Yeah,
think you have to
because
buy 5.
Genius. They're
It's
fused.
the easiest
that-
way to swap them.
Yeah.
Yeah, or not swap them at all. You have to buy each variation. No, look, it's intriguing because it kind of the swappable arm happens at the bicep articulation point. You know, where the arm swivel is where the t-shirt cuff, at least on the image, ends.
Yeah,
But
so it
hey,
would be the
these-
entire arm that you'd swap out.
Yeah.
Might
That makes the
be
most sense to me.
swappable.
I don't know.
Mm.
I would be scared of if I have to try and get into the heads of the toy factory. I'd be scared of pins breaking by trying to pull it off.
Oh,
at that
yeah, if you
bicep
make them
area.
all like bats. Yeah, where you,
Yeah.
but more like the bat version, the 1990s bat, where basically the entire lower arm would come off and just have that little stump, and then you just swap them out. I think, yeah, that's a bit dangerous.
Look, they
But
are
to make
making
it poetic,
the hands
that
out
would be
of
the best way of doing it, though.
the lower arm portion is going to be that forgiving gummy plastic on all of these guys. That's
Yeah.
an innovation which we can all get behind. But
sure.
if they just extended that construction or that plastic quality up to the rest of the arm for the unknown, then you could swap them no fear. But hey, this is all just us theorizing.
Speculation. We're gonna have
The
to wait.
truth will out.
Which I'm sure Carson and the gang are loving.
Oh God, sorry.
Like, I'm sure they love the speculation, and I think that's a cool thing, you know. Night
These
Raid
idiots.
and Aussie.
What do they know?
It's like those fools.
Another cool dog added to the team.
Now, as of the closing of the Kickstarter, Night Raid and Aussie were locked. But the Backerkit is now open. I should have announced this at the top of the show. I don't know why I didn't. I was too excited. I guess.
Steven.
Now I'm not excited at all, so I'll get it out of the way. The Backerkit will run from now right through till February. You have 6 months for us to
thank
push
goodness.
these all over the finish line. So if you missed the Kickstarter, you can get in on the action. If you did back the Kickstarter, even for one figure, the tiered discounting applies. So you can now enhance your pledges. You know, if you have a little bit of extra money saved up,
But that's great
go for it. I know people are pinching their pennies right now. It's tight. There are a lot of projects that have either just finished or are forthcoming. But who knows? Like 6 months is a fair bit of time to maybe.
That's
come up with
enough
a bit
time
more
to
scratch.
save up, yeah.
Just
To
cancel
get
your
some more
Sky Striker
recoil.
or your his tank and get these instead.
I don't know if you
I'm
can cancel.
kidding.
Hasbro's laughing all the way to the bank now. But you can probably flip them. There's always that
Yeah.
possibility.
That's true.
Yep.
But that's great.
People
because,
have
like,
started flipping their pre-orders, haven't they? People have been
Yeah.
selling
Oh,
like,
goodness.
we've got the Sky Striker not in hand, but you can have my HasLab.
You could buy it.
I've got my Sky Striker in hand. As I type
That's
this.
what I call it. A Sky Striker.
But Night Raid and Aussie, Rob, you lead the charge this time.
I think this guy is really fun. He's like back to basics, you know. He's not like overly designed. Once again, he's like Bengal, but like the male version of Bengal with a really cute dog. I like this so much. I think it's a lot of
rips off
fun.
your face.
Yeah, well, that's good though. Is it a border collie? I don't know if it is. I think it's a
pit bull.
It's a pit bull. Yeah, I think I agree
your
with Matthew
face off.
Comstock. He's definitely going to give you
Border
give
collie
you a
would
new,
as well.
new
Just-
one.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But pit bulls are more. They feel they're more recognized like a vicious breed, but also a breed that's very lovable apparently as well.
They're very lovable. Who do you think pushed Timmy down the well?
Obviously, yeah, sure. I
I
think, yeah.
And the dog's sitting there going, "No, idiot human, I pushed Timmy down the well. Come look at my masterwork. Wait, why are you saving him? Idiots!
You idiot.
We're gonna have to get Timmy next episode."
Now, I wonder
Yeah.
if this is a bit of a revision, but he's an
Steffi.
ex-Russian
Yeah.
special forces. Because I suppose Russian
Yeah,
special
because, you know.
forces are now a bit of a dirty word.
Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
That does look like a Steffi, actually.
Change the subject. All right.
Can I say one thing about that figure? I
Say one
hope,
thing.
I would love it if they make him chunky. If they make the actual O-ring stuff, the sculpt for him kind of biggish, like he's a
for
bigger
sure.
guy. I would
You
like
need a
that.
nice
Please
big
do
guy.
that. You know, like, you know, it's only like, you know, expensive tooling, but please do that. Because, yeah, I think it'd be cool to
Now-
have a chunky O-ring figure.
Do a chunky O-ring figure. Do you then advocate expanding the kind of the what would you call them? The piece that goes into the body from the arms, like that mushroom-shaped disc. Would you expand that? Because otherwise, you've got an arm that might be bulky, but then tapers to a very small point.
Yeah, you'd
to
have
fit-
to...
Well, they've
Yeah.
done similar things before, like with
E-Honda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not really.
we have had
customized.
fat characters or like bigger boned characters. You know,
Goro with his skinny arms. Sorry.
if you think about the Sergeant Savage guys, they were like bigger figures. They must have obviously had thicker arms, so a bigger hole into which the torso hole into which the arms would connect. So adapting some of that, it would then
Yeah.
limit his parts swappability. Like you wouldn't be able to use any of his parts into any other figures, and other figures' parts could not go into him.
It just
Yeah, you'd
died in
definitely
Bart's
be able to
eyes
get the
now.
thicker set.
you know. Then yeah, I don't know. I would risk it. I think that's worth risking because I think there's a lot of Joe customizers out there who, you know, and Joe fans out there and toy fans out there who would like to have a chunkier figure. You know, we're not all like, you know, well-built military dudes. So having a figure that kind of represents those of us that
90%
are
of the cosplayers out
bigger
there.
built. Yeah, I didn't say that. I think
I
you
did.
guys would appreciate that. Yeah, no, you did. You can hold that one. Enjoy the comments.
Come at me.
But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think it's a nice, relatable figure for some of the bigger guys out there. So
Excellent.
Anyway.
Yeah, man. Let's make some. Let's make that his thing, like an actual adaptation to the classic O-ring construction.
yeah,
New sub team
bit
Chonk Brigade.
Darren.
Robbie, man. All right. Now we have a character.
More
plucked from
animals!
Ethiopia.
Quartermaster and Cheetah.
Lekker me, bro. Yeah, that is exactly what I would do with this figure. Make him South African National Defense Force.
Yeah, you would be like, yes.
So Supply Chain is a quartermaster who actually is the mentor to what's her name?
Bengal.
The
No.
pack dog girl.
That's our girl.
Run
Supply
back
Chain-
and
Run
run back.
Thanks.
And Robodog.
And no, Run Back is the name of the robo dog. Bloody hell. We
Yes.
just spoke about her. Anyway, hopefully everyone knows what I'm referencing. Anyways, he is a dude in a safari suit with chains around his shoulders. He's got a pet cheetah. He's got various sling bags that go over the cheetah's back. He smokes a pipe. He's got mirror shades.
He's a
Come on,
dude.
guys.
He's a
He's a
fucking
dude.
dude guy.
He's a farmer, my boys. Yeah.
But like, as someone pointed out in the comments, he looks kind of evil. Actually, he can actually go both ways.
Well, the
you know, he
chains give you
could-
that dreadnought vibe, as does the beard.
Dude, I think
Yeah.
it's just that he looks South African, and South Africans look scary when they're like
It's
in that
true.
configuration.
Like, I definitely, people have always told me I'm a very scary looking person. This
Like-
is true.
I mean, even his gear is very old school South African military looking, hey? So,
Very, very interesting. I think he's very cool.
except for his foot locker, that is definitely not South African. Ours were ugly. We got two in the garage.
And also, finally, a feline in the
Yes.
in the mix. I mean, the rest have all been dogs or a tortoise. If I
Spearheads,
recoil.
bobcat.
Yeah, that's correct as well. Yeah, Spears Bobcat, but there's not many cats in the. Well, there is a cheetah cat though. I mean,
But I think that's just
isn't it
because
like
cats
Bengal
can't be
eye?
tamed.
Cats are untamable.
Although, that
Hey
said,
man,
I
if
have
Chris
been
Pratt
to...
can train a velociraptor.
Yeah, but a velociraptor is not a cheetah. Velociraptor is not from Africa, bro. Like,
True.
Cheetahs, don't play cards with them, for starters. And secondly, they run very fast. No, man. I've been... I couldn't help it. I've been to a cheetah
This
sanctuary
figure-
and wow. Yeah.
This figure reminds me of a great yarn that was told to me once upon a time where I don't know, someone was talking to folks that clearly weren't terribly worldly. And this was a South African guy, and he was like, they were asking like, so what's it like in Africa? They're like wild animals all over the place. So he decided, yeah, let me pull these guys' legs. So he really took them for a ride and said, yeah, look, I mean, when you need to take the whole family, we ride the elephant. But if you're late for work, you better get on the cheetah. I think they bought it. They were like, what? You ride cheetahs? Like, nah, not really, pal. But yeah,
It's
that's where my head goes with this. It's like, yeah, fucking hell, I've got a pet cheetah and it takes stuff for me.
And you know, I've been to a cheetah sanctuary long ago, a couple of years back, like 7 years ago, and they rehabilitate them because they help them and whatever. Because farmers shoot them when they enter some of the farm properties. And I've sat and I've actually been in the same presence, not like separated by a cage. And these things are incredibly like cunning. Like they have a look in their eye where they're just waiting for you to do something stupid. I can't explain it. Like it's kind of like what the velociraptors are like in Jurassic Park. You just know stuff's going on in the back of their head. They're like, yeah, if my family wasn't here, I'd eat you, and I'll do it with an Australian accent.
I think was that the Lion Park just outside of Joburg?
No,
'Cause
it's
Kim
a
and I
place.
went, and there were some cubs. What did you call
Oh
them?
no, that's the Lion Park. No, this was I think it's called Dikololo. Yes, that's
But
the name of the place. Yeah.
We petted some big cats cubs, and they got very sharp teeth, and they bite very hard.
Yeah.
All of those little bastards are waiting to draw blood. Like you kind of rough and tumble them, but if you get a little bit too rough, they're ready, man.
Yeah.
They're ready to make a meal out of you. I tell you. So power to this guy for taming his cheetah.
I wonder what the cheetah's name is. Oh, it's Luna. There we go.
Luna.
Such a good name.
Very good.
Sorry, I
name.
didn't see that for some reason. It was like invisible to me.
It's like they didn't name the character.
Nice.
Next up,
Very cool
Lilith, female army paratrooper. So it's, I suppose, a ripcord, but a female buck, which I think we kind of need, guys. And like, I mean, I've got to say, as a general like custom option, this is awesome. You could put a Scarlet head in. You could put a Lady J head in.
It adds a lot to the existing line.
Mm-hmm.
Its greatest strength is its greatest weakness for me as well.
Wow.
It's a girl in a military uniform, which is a strength, and it's a girl in a military uniform, which is a weakness. Not for any reason other than I don't need her to be running around in some kind of armored bikini. That's not what I'm getting at. Just if I consider some of the other character designs, yeah.
Not
It's a girl in an
Flash.
army uniform. It's no Flash.
Okay.
There's no, yeah.
You're not.
But once again,
it's not blowing me away.
Once again, it's a girl in an army uniform or in fatigues, and that's also a win. So it's like, yeah.
You're definitely
it's
not
gonna-
recoiling from this.
I'm definitely not recoiling from this. Let's move along before I get flamed in the comments.
I think she's
misunderstood.
cool. I like that there's such a variety of characters. I think we said at the start, like there's sci-fi, there's very militaristic characters. It very much feels like a GI Joe wave of figures. That with the proper variety of stuff that we're getting. I think it looks really good.
I like the fact that this is quite a rudimentary design.
Whoa.
For the simple reason that it is going from this initial concept and demonstrating that not everyone who submitted is an accomplished like artist or illustrator. Like this is a regular Joe who had an idea, submitted it, and in all earnestness, it got the attention of the original creatives and is now going to see production. Well, assuming it unlocks on Backerkit, which I think is a pretty safe assumption between now and February, that this is going to see action figure form. And from now to that point, it is going to go through interpretation, reinterpretation. They're going to inject so much of their own stamp into it. Like, this is one of those that is not fully formed yet, that will be taken to the next plateau, and then the next, and then the next. So this, more than all of the others, feels like a concept that you really want to keep your eye on in the coming months. So
I agree with you on that, Steve.
Greatest excitement for me.
I
What
love
you
the
see
scarred
on the
face.
screen
That's a
now, yeah, sure. I mean, I hope they retain that. That is a very characteristic thing. She's not just a pretty chick. She's seen combat. She's seen hardship. She's a survivor. Whatever her backstory is, she bears the physical scars of it. And I imagine that will be the one aspect that is retained. Anything else can change, but yeah, hopefully they'll keep that scarring.
I also have a good feeling that this figure will probably be bought in multiples by people.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. She could be a green shirt, female green shirt. We need more of that. And the final fan submission is Alpha Dog, a Navy construction mechanic, or CB. This is a real thing, guys. A thing that GI Joe never produced in all of its years, and it's now in with a chance. How exciting!
Yeah, it's good to have a CB. Actually, I think military toy lines need it, and I'm glad that this one's got it. Because
Well, it's nice
it's
to
great
ship
that you got
finding
it.
as friends.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the thing is, you got so many guys that like can take out naval stuff and sabotage
But who
stuff,
can
but you got
build?
nobody to fix it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Clutch, we need you to fix the TTPP. He's like, I'm an auto technician, a mechanic.
Get Tank to do it.
Okay, so when are you coming to fix the TTPP? You know? Now we got a CB, and now CB can take care of that. So
Oh,
he's
once again,
awesome.
it also fills in like another niche it fills another niche. You know, with the CB, we had the supply characters. It's kind of nice that they're expanding like what the people do. You know, and not just soldiers or paratroopers or survivalists. There's also these support characters. It feels like a very rounded wave.
Which makes it that much more interesting to see what Larry does in terms of stitching all these characters together into a cohesive storyline. That's kind of his challenge. Like, this is in this first assortment, it's a closed bubble of like heroes and villains, each fulfilling a specific niche in a team. Like, they come from these various disparate creators, but are now being woven into the same plotline and tapestry. So a character like Alpha Dog, who kind of steps outside the typical, like, I suppose, survivalist vein of a lot of these characters, like, how's he going to fit in the team? How's he going to find a place? And what will he specifically add to Operation Recall? I'm curious, once again. It's always the more rudimentary and less fully formed ones that have my interest.
And
I think it's
speaking
gonna
of
be
your
good.
interest,
Ooh.
which ones are you gonna add to your cart?
Goodness
What?
gracious me. Well,
Oh
there is
no, there's one
general-
more. I keep forgetting about this dude.
There's a secret.
It's the final unlock, the 19th figure. If the campaign reaches its fully funded goal, and all 16 of the submitted characters see production, there will be a bonus called General Mortifero, the enemy
Finally.
commander.
Hooded Cobra Command. I mean, General Mortifero.
The big bad. Look, he's got Hooded Cobra Commander elements. He's got Scar, what's his name? Iron Claw callbacks. It's a good look. He's a jackbooted villain with skulls abound. He looks like he's wearing a Baron Zemo kind of collar.
Cool.
You know, that kind of
He's very like
yeah,
rich.
great artwork, and it does tie in the Cadavers symbol. So that is definitely what they've settled on for this enemy entity, whatever it winds up being called.
Oh,
Very exciting.
Thanks.
Jinx. Not you, Kim. I mean,
Can I?
Kim Arashikage. Paul.
I'm gonna say something that is gonna sound a little controversial,
Uh-oh.
and I think it's worth saying. I think he looks great. I'm a little disappointed that he is an analog of Cobra Commander. I'm sorry,
early days.
but like, it is early days. Granted, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with the design. It's not broken. It's great design.
No, obviously
I
not.
just
But you
think,
feel it
like-
skews too close to Cobra
Yeah,
Commander.
it's just like, you know, the problem with GI Joe is that it's become an institution. So if you're going to borrow from it, you know, there's things that you can borrow and steal from it, and you should rather steal and take ownership of those things. I just feel like the hooded Cobra Commander look is not something you should steal for no reason other than the fact that Cobra Commander owns that so hard that anything else, by comparison, feels derivative and feels like you're copying. And that's the only thing that I feel fails
Well,
on this.
for sure.
You got
but the only
so
thing,
much, yeah.
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
thing is that the Hasbro itself has moved away from the hooded look. They've
No,
fully
they
gone
have.
into the helmeted look. So it leaves it up for grabs. But yeah, still the association is still Cobra Commander.
Yeah,
Especially
I just
to people who have had a long history with the line.
Also, I mean, I could switch it out with Miles Mayhem. You know, like,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it's
I'm
all the
glad
same.
you mentioned
It's all the
Miles
same.
Mayhem because Miles Mayhem was very much a man of action. He was always piloting Switchblade into battle, and just like General Mortifero, at least in these illustrations, had a thicker set. Cobra Commander is kind of diminutive and kind of, for lack of a better
yeah,
term,
he's
when
kind
you
of
use the
like
Afrikaans word,
weaselly.
he's scrawl. He's like,
Yeah, he
you
is.
know, he's a wiry
Yeah.
dude. He's not a frontline guy. General Mortifero looks like that perfect symphony of like Destro meets Iron Claw. He's got that 90s extreme thing going for him. And to counter your hooded argument there, Paul, it looks
Yeah.
like a very deliberate attempt has been made to have hard elements incorporated into the hood. So it's a hard skull facade, and then with the hood draped over his mouth, you know, to add a bit of, and neck, I suppose, to add a little bit of mystery. And that brings in the interest of how it will be constructed. Will it be a separate rubber piece that will then extend over the neck, or will it be a hard plastic? You know, if you can think of the example of 1984 Hooded Cobra Commander versus his Talking Battle Commanders version, like in 84 you had rubber that sort of extended past the neck post to
Yeah.
give the hood a more realistic drape, and then in the 90s they just went with a hard plastic head, so it didn't look quite as realistic. Will
Well,
this have that Pac-Man ghost extension almost?
well, to counter what you just said, yes, in the details it's different from what the Hooded Cobra Commander is, but in silhouette, it still very much looks like that. From a distance, you go, that's Cobra Commander. So there has to
Will
be
it have
more
a
that makes him
soft
stand
goods-
out to make him more differentiated from Hooded Cobra Commander.
Will he have a soft goods shoulder drape?
Ooh, that would be nice though.
That was the first thing that came to mind when I saw that as well. It's like, ooh, soft goods would be cool on that.
And
Give me a
I'm going to
soft
repeat it, but like if they're going with a thicker set O-ring construction for Aussie, Night, what's his name? Jeez, blanking. Night Raid. Thank you. If 3D Joe's, I mean, if Operation Recall run with our idea and make a thicker, bigger buck, the same
Gotta
could
get
be
chunk.
used for General Mortifero.
Gotta get
And
give-
Salguero.
get a bigger dude.
Yeah.
You know, push the boundaries. It's not just kind of road pig like musculature, but actually just like enhancing the thickness of all of
widen the profile.
parts.
Yeah, or widen the silhouette. Like, like I said, don't get me wrong with this. I think it's a cool looking toy. I'm just surprised that they just retread that ground. I just thought like we would get a different type of villain. Especially if you go all the way back and you check out those jungle dudes, the unknown, like when you look at them and you go, wow, their boss must be scary. You know, yeah. So there's I don't know. I just that's just kind of the feeling I get.
Okay,
I
you're
do like the
underwhelmed.
fact that
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed.
even though they're going for the O-ring aesthetic, which kind of you have to take with a pinch of salt because there are hokey elements abound in that construction. But they've taken the baddies very seriously so far. You know,
So far.
early days
Well-
maybe, but like they do look scary, and the scariness and the inhumanity of them kind of sets them apart from my heroes. Very few faces amongst the baddies, if any. And it speaks to that like early GI Joe line, almost Bond villain-esque adventures in the comic book, where Cobra Commander, it was a sort of, you know, villainy of the month type plots, but he was a menace not to be trifled with. Like if you were in his presence, you were shaking in your boots because he could just pull out a snake and kill you with it, bludgeon you with a globe, or hey, if he was feeling particularly magnanimous, just shoot you in the head. You know, all of his underlings were always in complete terror, and contrast that to just a couple of decades of not decades, a couple of tens of issues later when his story gets trotted out and he's far less intimidating as a result. And now current G.I. Joe comic books has Cobra Commander acting as much a buffoon as he ever did in the cartoon series.
Mm-hmm.
I find.
Yeah.
That's my grumble. It's my gripe. So introducing
let's end on a
some
high note.
serious baddies. That's great. Let's end on a high note. Rob, Paul, what is if you could only have one? It's the Desert Island Discs scenario. What's your top of the pops? What's that one album that you're gonna have with you?
Fell of the Land by the Prodigy. Oh, you mean the toy? Like which operation? No, I'm just being cheeky.
Okay, computer, Radiohead.
Hey.
That's also a good album.
Oh, yeah, actually, mine would be Kid A by Radiohead.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. And
so,
toys.
onto toys. Okay, guys, I think it's... Oh, sorry, Rob. Go.
Well,
let
me go first. Mine's short. Clanker and Tank. I think that's a cool concept. It's probably the wildest concept that's come out of this. I'm very interested to see where it goes because it feels like the one that has it can develop the most and be really interpreted the most as well. And I just love the idea of Tank. Of Tank being like the leader of the team. I think that's so cool. I want that to happen. If he isn't the leader, I'll be very upset. You know, Tank versus General General Morty.
Yes.
But I think Clanker and Tank, from where it's come from Bobby's original designs to what Mark has, kind of interpreted from that, it's going to go somewhere very interesting. Yeah, if I had to choose just one, Clanker and Tank. You have to choose one that has a companion, obviously.
You have to, yeah.
You have to. And that's why Paul chooses...
Ironically, like none of my selections have an animal companion. And that is really weird because I love animals.
That is very strange.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going to start with the totally going to get okay? I love this idea. It's after my own heart. It's a ninja, and like going into this, I was like, before this even started, I was like, there's probably going to be tons of ninjas. And yeah, just a 10-year-old in me loves ninjas. And I also I resonate with the leg, the prosthetic leg or the cybernetic leg and all of that stuff. And I just think where Mark Pennington, in English, where Mark Pennington is going with this design is really interesting to me and really fun. And I like that the character is not an analog. Although it seems like an analog for Snake Eyes, it's really not. It kind of seems like his own thing, which I dig. That's awesome. Definitely grabbing Damselfly for myself. That would be another one I'd bring with me onto the island. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love that gun. I love the jetpack. We're going to have lots of fun together, this toy, and I can whoosh it around the house. It's going to be cool. And you guys saw this coming. Duh. Great Whites. Like this.
You can leave that image up because that's also going to get my vote.
Cool. Great Whites are just amazing. And the way Mark Pennington has brought this to life, or at least the direction that it's going, whether it goes into the sort of heavier set armor shell type or the skinnier kind of Lord of the Ocean, kind of vibe, I'm sold either way. For if I have to put this into GI Joe, my Cobra forces need a leader for their ocean troops, for their sea-based warriors, because they don't have one of those technically. Or Sector Viper kind of, but not really. And anyway, it's got a shark in it.
I always thought of Decimator as a individual. The file card lends credence to that fact. I do think he's an individual.
Okay. Well, bonus then. Maybe I still need a Decimator then as well. And also, I just cannot ignore this figure. Although I want to see what the toy looks like. You see, those other three
Aguila
concepts...
del Sol, for anyone listening.
Yeah, Sol Ego Guerrero. My whole thing is this. I love the concept. I think the idea is stellar. It looks like it's going to be fun. I just want to see how the toy is pulled off. If they manage to sort of widen the profile a bit and make him really staunch, it's going to be very cool, very interesting, and it's definitely going to find its way onto the desert island with me. And that was my fourth bonus figure. Yeah. but you guys know me over the course of the next couple of months with the Backerkit. Operation Recall's Kickstarter and me are going to become quite acquainted with each other. So,
Well, need we say more? If you haven't had a chance to back Operation Recall, and you've listened to this podcast, and we've perhaps swayed your dollar, check out the Backerkit. The link will be in the description below. But I think that concludes our overview, our Operation Recall roundup.
Yeah,
And now I think we're going to break into a more free-form, whatever you want to talk about for the next 10 minutes. Paul, have you got some new toys?
I got some. But let's start with. Heberg. It's one of those. I was thrilled to find this on my most recent visit to the toy shop, and this is when the picture actually appears, which it's not. It's taking a while. So suspense, please, ladies and gentlemen. It is, and I'm hoping the picture flashes up anytime now. Picture.
It's up, Paul.
Oh, good. I'm not seeing it on my side. So
Beastman.
It's Beastman from the Masterverse line, and the Masterverse line I am not actively collecting. I think the only other figure from this line that I want to get is She-Ra, which I'm quite amped for, because I love She-Ra and I'd love to have a decent looking version of one in my collection. But Beastman just spoke to me from the shelf. He was just like, buy me. And look at his soft goods. He's got like cool, fuzzy, like fluffy, like, fur coat thing that's going there. And it's so great. And it's so cool on the figure in hand. And he's got a cool like mask kind of thing. It's just so much fun. This is a great toy. I'm very happy with this purchase. I have absolutely no regrets. I took this over getting the Origins Roton, which was also at the store, surprisingly. But I have told myself I'm going to stop on the Origins vehicles. Just want the Talon Fighter. That's what I'm making space for. So, yeah, I got myself a Masterverse Beastman. And you can actually put him up in his original deco. So you can take this furry thing off and make him wear his original stuff. And that was my intention. And after doing the swap, I was like, nah, I actually really like the soft goods look. It's fun. It adds some dimension to his posability because you can sort of get him like leaning forward. And yeah. And then this is just him posed here with Horace. Horace is a bird that doesn't seem to be able to fly too well right now. And Celia saved Horace. So Horace is just in a cage in a little hospital. And Beastman wanted to pose with Horace. So there we go. That's my new toy.
Those shoulder pads look so cool.
Those shoulder pads are so cool.
Damn.
They're fluffy.
Proper 80s.
Proper 80s. So there you go. That was my new toy, and I was just excited. I was like, yeah, I got a new toy.
I got a new non-GI Joe toy.
Well, Steven got a new non-GI Joe toy that he did such a fun video of. I was all excited.
Wow, I was surprised by that. I was like, this isn't even GI Joe. But I suppose he's short enough to be kind of like a GI Joe.
What are you folks referring?
Ooh.
Wolverine.
Well, if you haven't checked it out yet, Stephen, there is a cool video on the GI Joburg channel talking about the Kenner Marvel Legends Wolverine. Yeah.
Wolverine. This Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine. Guys, I have been cured of my sad addiction in one fell swoop. I cannot abide by limited point of articulation figures anymore. It's just the legs. It's the legs. Like, arms be damned. If they've got 1 point, that's fine. A wrist swivel, even better. But, like, you get absolutely no emotion from a static legged figure. And you splay his legs out and they look ridiculous. Like he's making a big sort of leap.
He's jumping around. I think as long as they have...
I'm a maniac.
As long as it has knee articulation, I think it makes the figures infinitely better. I mean, I think we have Superpowers Robin somewhere, and he has knee articulation.
So the comparison I draw is that these guys are like Secret Wars figures from back in the mid-'80s. Except Secret Wars figures, as I recall, have a little bit of juice in the knees. Like they are semi-pre-posed. They have a bit of a dynamic like stance to them. One leg forward, one leg back. These guys only do the neutral, which I don't know, take it or leave it. Either way, it's a tease. So crap.
I just love those.
It's for literally, it's my son's toy now. And
so
also
funny, the pigs in the wall.
disappointing. If only. Also disappointing. I bought a Star Wars figure that is released in 2022, but it's not a 2022 figure. Her name's Shay Vizsla, kind of riding the wave of like the fact that Mandalorians are everywhere, like all the pegs. It's just variations on Mandalorian figures.
Mando's everywhere. Is she from the Shame of the Force line?
She's from a video game from 2012. She's got a great new head sculpt, and this is far less exclusive.
From Republic Commando, isn't she?
Whatever, doesn't matter.
Something.
Yeah.
This is the problem with modern Star Wars action figures of the 3 3/4 or 4-inch scale, is that you don't, unless you do your research and you know exactly what era they've plucked those parts from, you don't know what you're getting in terms of articulation. She's a T-crotch. In the era where Star Wars figures finally started to get good, she's a fucking T-crotch. This is the best pose you're ever going to get her in. She's in a kind of a gun-toting pose, but like, she can't do much. Rubbish.
I was about to say, like, what are you going to complain about? And then I was like, oh, he said T-crotch.
Yeah.
She's a maniac.
That's sneaky, man. Because a figure released today, you expect to have today's like amazing Star Wars articulation. She sucks. Great deco, great sculpt, but like
she looks
that
really
really
good.
hurts.
Yeah, she's a great little statue.
And she
Cool head sculpt,
she
yeah.
retails slightly higher than the rest of the vintage collection figures.
Bastards.
And it's possibly because she's trying to tap into a faux sense of exclusivity, because the figure that she replaces was very exclusive and very rare and low number runs. So it's the same buck, but with a better head. But there's nothing exclusive about this figure. You can get it anywhere. She comes with additional accessories that I suppose most Star Wars action figures wouldn't. She's got her alternate Mando head. And the reason I got her is because it's not a very Mandalorian-esque helmet. It doesn't have the kind of the T visor. So it could stand in as something else. She comes with an additional blaster. And then, okay, this is also removable in the backpack.
Maybe she comes from KOTOR.
But
Anyway.
here's the problem, guys. And this is the thing that I'm trying to resist tooth and nail and failing dismally, is that these pieces of hard candy count as accessories. Blast effects. Whoa, blast effects. Garbage!
I'll take them off your hands. I like blast.
Not these ones, pal. The stems are so thin and weak that if you pose her for like not even 2 minutes, they start to sag. You got
Oh, yes.
this kind of erectile dysfunction flame happening. But they
There we
plug
go.
into
Gaz
her
nailed it. Yeah, she's from KOTOR. That's right. Oh no, apparently she's from the MMO. Yeah, KOTOR. Yeah, because the KOTOR did the Knights of the Old Republic.
She's Star Wars.
Or Old Republic, the MMO. Yeah.
She's got
Anyway.
a great look, but she's a cock tease because she just
T-crotch.
can't spread
She's
her
a
legs.
maniac. Maniac.
And also, I need to talk a little bit about my drive through this incredible country.
Oh, you drove across the whole of Australia. That's crazy.
After packing up the house for a week, basically, and the last sprint to the finish line was hectic, guys. I saved my toys. Like I kind of did my toys quite languidly in the dead of the night when I didn't have to do anything else. So everything was bubble wrapped, boxed, very nice. But boy, oh boy, on the day of exit, I was just literally like throwing stuff into the car. It was hardcore. Because I drove basically the length of the state by car. Drove from the north of Queensland down to Brisbane, which is in the south. It took 16 hours. Now, in South Africa or the United States, if you drive for 16 hours in any direction, you're going to cross
You end up in
multiple
Cape Town.
provinces or states. Yeah, you transit a country.
Yeah.
But my point is you pass through numerous state or provincial borders.
Yeah.
In Australia, you can drive for like 20 hours and be within the same state. It's crazy, massive. But I will say this much. after spending my days running after a toddler, a languid drive, just me and a car full of toys, was very restful, very rejuvenating.
Oh, that's
Of
cool,
course,
man.
it was not without its challenges. I mean, if you can imagine the view you have inside the Millennium Falcon's cockpit, that's the view that I had in my car. Absolutely no rearward vision, absolutely no vision to the left of me. Just like straight forward and to the right. Changing lanes was interesting.
Brilliant. Oh, wow.
Wow.
You certainly got a lot of stuff while you were there. This is
I'm
2
glad you
years
don't-
worth of collecting?
Oh, and this isn't even the half of it. Like the stuff that is junk to me got sent with the removalist guys in the big truck. Now the stuff that came with me personally was like GI Joe only, plus a handy dandy box for the two of you gents. Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It looks like if you break too hard there, the beast bomber would have taken your head out.
Oh, it'll go for its final flight.
Uh-oh.
And as we point our feet to the door, yeah, gents, I've received a fair number of amazing donations just by virtue of what we do here on GI Joburg. But I have the most outrageous story that is completely podcast and YouTube channel unrelated.
Wow.
My parents were in Greece recently. My mother visited an old friend of hers. And this old friend happened to say, "Listen, Daphne, I know your son collects G.I. Joe action figures. Well, my son collected them when he was a boy. They're just taking up space in the attic. Does your son want to take them off our hands?"
Yes. Even I know that.
Well, no shit. That's the obvious answer. But
Oh, rhetorical
I
question.
failed to realize how much stuff, like
Oh, wow.
boxed vehicles, dudes.
What?
Oh, my absolute shit. Look at that warthog. I'm ice cold.
Warthog, Destro's Dominator, the Overlord Dictator, the Dreadnought Cycle, the Polar Battle Bear, the Law, the Devilfish. So those are the boxed vehicles.
Wow, dude, that means you have a
And there's an
Dreadnought
entire
cycle
box
now
of figures
as well.
probably as well. He's always had the Dreadnought.
Oh, yeah.
Have you always had the Dreadnought cycle, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. That was...
Oh, sorry, I didn't think you did. I was because I love that toy.
He's a
I was-
huge Dreadnought fan.
yeah. So, Rob's got a Dreadnought cycle. I'm joking.
But, guys, and the picture
Ooh.
I got from my mother isn't terribly clear, but there seem to be figures that are still on card. Like
Wow.
Flint
See
and
that?
Hydra Viper.
Oh, I can have another Hydra Viper. This is brilliant.
Amazing. So
And Pony.
I am like a pig in shit, boys. This is like
Absolutely insane.
we've often heard amazing stories of people who've been given other people's childhood collections just by virtue of the fact that like we know this stuff, that you adore this stuff, and it means nothing to us, and like what we're gonna do, sell it, you know. I don't want to
I'm
get
gonna
my
play
hands
the
dirty.
shit out of this stuff.
Away. Oh my god.
I'd rather give it to
Amazing.
someone who would actually appreciate it. But you know, never did I think this kind of story would happen to me. And man, I'm
This is
giddy.
good.
I'm pumped. And it's not just because it's 2 a.m.
Oh, shit, dude. I look at that warthog and I'm just like, yes. I feel like I've walked on. I just feel like I've fallen into, Scrooge's money like pit. It's exciting.
And it's the Euro Warthog as well.
Oof.
Delight. Mm.
So
That makes it
great,
even
dude.
better.
Well,
Hey?
I don't know. It can go either way. It depends on what you're used to. But like my childhood Warthog was obviously the European release, so I'm used to that shade of green and that kind of plastic quality and the sticker quality. So yeah, it's nice to have what I'm familiar with.
Wow, dude.
Anyways, this has been episode 264 of GI Joburg, the
Hell
Operation
yeah, it has.
Recall Roundup. I hope anyone's
Hopefully
interested in this thing.
Hopefully no one
This
recoiled
initiative.
from listening to this episode and you enjoyed our perspective, and we've encouraged you to get some of these toys maybe by February next year. Go crazy.
And yes, to answer Hans Chow in the chats, yes, that childhood collection was given to me for free. I don't know if I can even
Wow.
believe it. Because obviously my folks had to then mule it from Greece back to
shame,
South
man.
Africa. So it's,
Oh,
it's
no.
Poor parents.
I think it's
No, but they're
sitting in
used
my
to it by
childhood.
now.
Exactly.
If
They
they're
are
not
such
carrying a
troopers.
bunch of toys, do they kind of like, wait, did we actually go on holiday?
They're gonna feel like they forgot something. They're gonna be like, "Oh no, we haven't got a box full of shit for Steven or his friends."
All right, Daddios. Rob, do you have any feedback you want to sink your teeth into before we disappear?
All right, we've this is quite a big episode, so I'm just gonna say my favorite comment on episode 263 was a thumbs up from Raul Coronado, which I think sums up what Megaforce is all about. Thumbs up, positivity, and
It's that thumb.
go get 'em attitude. Do it. Go watch Megaforce, guys. If there are more comments, I'm definitely going to go into it next time. But I think we've eaten your ears off for a very long time tonight, guys.
Thanks again to the Berg Force who showed up on this fine day, and
Hell
all
yeah.
of the
Sexy
patrons
people.
out there doing their beautiful thing and tossing us a few dollars every month. It is obviously appreciated. Muchas
Thanks to anyone who
gracias.
listens to us, even. Like, thanks to every single person who just takes the time to be like, nice. I like the way Stephen says recoil. I like how Paul laughs. I like how Rob
Makes
doesn't say things.
snide
most of the time.
comments.
It's kind of cool.
And of course,
Thanks.
all the great
Favorite.
interactions on the YouTube comments thread, anywhere we are social, be it Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, we love the love. We see you. Thank you very much for playing the game. We'll be here
And
next
go
week
watch
for
Megaforce.
another episode. Megaforce.
Megaforce.
Megaforce. Nice one.
We are out.
Bug, 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 bug.
Very
Bug,
good.
bug, 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 bug.